The long-awaited debut of Hendon Hooker was last night in the Detroit Lions preseason game against the New York Giants. I saw a tweet that the last time he played was in November of 2022 when he got the injury. And we've been waiting for this guy to play. And yesterday was the first time we got to see him. Now, when we drafted him, a lot of guys, a lot of people, a lot of Detroit Lions fans have been guilty of this, but have been ready to move on from Jared Goff before Hendon even got here. Every single year since Jared Goff, literally every single year since the trading for Jared Goff and trading away Matthew Stafford, Detroit Lions fans, some of them, have been trying to get rid of Jared Goff. Well, the Detroit Lions said, we're going to buckle down, and Goff's our guy. Not only are we not going to trade him away or anything crazy like that. Remember, like Washington Commanders and those guys kept popping up every year. We're going to extend him, all right? A lot of people wanted us to take Malik Willis and Will Levis and all these other people. The Detroit Lions took a guy, okay, the only quarterback that they've drafted under Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, in Hendon Hooker. Now, he was there because he was injured. There is a possibility, a probability, a high probability that he would have gone in the first round had he not been injured. But alas, he was, and here we are, right? Third round, pick number 70-something overall, spent the entire offseason and season of last year unable to do just about anything. Never saw any snaps until yesterday. And the question that I have for you is, how would you judge his debut? Now, Rick put in the comment section that it's not enough to judge Hooker on, to be honest. And I'm going to tie that back to a segment that we'll do later on. But how did he do? Hendon Hooker came in. He played a little bit. Now, he was going to play the entire second half, but of course, he got hurt. He got concussed. Dan Campbell talked about after the game how he's probably going to have to change that. And we don't know if it was the boom when he lowered the shoulder or whatever. Great looking play, but he lowered the shoulder, might have got concussed from that, and wind up having to be pulled out the game, and then Nate Sudfeld had to go in. But here's how he did. He completed, he had 9 attempts. He completed 5 passes for a completion rate of 55.6 for 36 yards. He averaged 4 yards per throw, no touchdowns, no interceptions. His long was 13 yards. His rating was 65. Now, again, I'm not judging this dude based on one series or 9 passes. But there are some things that I saw in his game that I'm not sure he's ready to be the backup QB. But again, that's going to be another segment. So how are we feeling overall on his first game? Here's the thing. He looked good at times, then he looked bad at times. Some of the stuff that's coming from practice is carrying over into this game. Now, I know a lot of people are going to put it on. It's 2 things: rust and who he was playing with. Both of those things are a factor. But here's the thing. And again, this is part of another segment. But Hendon Hooker was brought in here to, in my honest opinion, it was never to compete with Jared Goff. It never was. It was always to have the backup role. Now, you could argue and say that when he came, if Jared wouldn't have done as well, then we would have put all our eggs into the Hendon Hooker basket. I disagree with that because we don't know what we would have had year one. So why would you move on from a proven commodity for a guy that can't take a snap in the first year? So in my opinion, he did as you would expect from a guy who haven't played in a year and a half, almost 2 years. However, there's some work that needs to be done. Hooker still needs some work, but has some good showings, though. I agree 100%. Hooker is a guy that needs to play. And that brings me to this next question is, will the Detroit Lions play him for the next 2 games? Assuming he passes concussion protocol, he's able to play. Are we going to give him the start against the Kansas City Chiefs? I would assume he's going to at least start. Maybe Dan Campbell can say, listen, depending on how you do, you'll stay in the game, and just put Sudfeld on the shelf. Will we see him? I'm thinking for the last preseason game, maybe they'll do quarters. 1 quarter Hendon, 1 quarter Nate. Nate needs to take a back seat, in my opinion. But his debut was, I think it was as expected. I don't know, if y'all thought I was going to be difficult on him, hard on him, but I'm trying to avoid talking about this other segment, which is why I'm kind of walking a thin line, because Hendon Hooker's debut and the next segment go together tremendously. So my thing is, overall, I would have to grade him. I'm going to say a C. Give your grade. What would you give Hendon Hooker's debut? I got to say C, man. It was a lot of things from practice that I saw carry over to the game. You averaged 4 yards a catch or a pass. But I think the biggest thing, it was two things. One was holding on to the football. Now you could say, okay, well, he's playing with third and fourth string. They couldn't get open. But so was the other team. The other team is playing with those same type of guys on their side. This is the NFL, bruh. You got to learn how to slide. You see what's going on with Justin Fields and other mobile running quarterbacks. All of them get injured. Every last one of them. So Hendon, he's got to adjust. I'm not being too hard on him, but his debut, I'm going to give him a solid C. Solid C. It could have been higher. Had he maybe slid. That would have been a little higher. But let me know your thoughts. What would you grade Hendon Hooker, and what did you think about his NFL debut?